If you are considering or thinking about Sales Academy, we did create a better link for you guys. What I did is I gave you guys access to actually my Voxer. So voice and text right here on my phone. It's one link. It's to me directly. It's private. If you have questions, you want to talk about your situation, it goes directly to my Voxer. You can voice me, you can text me, and we can chat. And then that way we can see if this is a good fit. We have the couple of options for you guys at the $497 a month. We have, if you wanted to do a one-time $500 upgrade and get accountability on a weekly, daily, regular basis with Sydney, there's that. If you're worried about, just like, I know coming into a new space and executing a new strategy, or doing new things can sometimes feel, you have a lot of questions. There's a lot of uncertainty. You don't know how to make everything work for you. And sometimes you need that extra support. A lot of our clients need that in the beginning, and then they don't need it so much as they get the system going, right? And so we want to provide that for you guys. You can also pay in full and get the whole Sales Academy program. You can get the VIP upgrade, and you can get Monday through Friday Voxer with me. So if you guys have been liking this, every day, imagine this times like 100 via Voxer every day. You can ask me anything, and I'm stuck, and I don't know what to do, and I'm freaking out, and I did this and it didn't work, like whatever it is. And I need you to look at this, and can you review that? Should I say this or should I say that? Like, that's what Voxer is for, so that you're not waiting for the weekly calls. So if you're someone that wants to move a little faster with a little more speed, Voxer is a great option for that. So let me give you the visual that I promised. And we call this the Sales Academy way. Why do I call it that? Because there's a million ways that you guys could do your sales. There's a million things you could do. And I'm going to promise you, if it doesn't look like this, you're going to run ragged and die at your desk trying to make money. 1,000,000,000%. I mean, I work with millionaires. I 100% am going to tell you, this is the way. This is the way to get more sales more consistently in an ethical way in any market. And I believe that 1,000,000,000%. There is no other way better than the Sales Academy way, period. There's no other proven way. There's no strategy that trumps this. There is no amount of content. There's no amount of desire. There's no amount of hours you could put in a day or boxes you could check. There's no amount of learning new things or automation of funnels that you're going to do that will replace the system right here. Guaranteed. I will give you all my money. You can take it to the bank and deposit it. I guarantee you. And I stand here very confidently saying this. This is the way. So the Sales Academy way, this is the visual. So if you are going to come into Sales Academy, this is kind of what your day is going to look like. A day in the life of a seller, right? This is how we make dollars and cents. But I want to say this. The beautiful thing about this is this system, once it's working, can be handed down, right, to a team member or to team members that can run it for you. Okay, so Sydney started as my community manager. She just managed my Facebook group years ago. That's all. She just did that. Then she moved into sales and qualifying, and she was qualifying leads and closing sales. Then she moved into head coach in my company. She's worked her way up. And we have people that do parts of this for us. Because we are in a trust recession, I've stepped back into doing my sales and I haven't done them in 9 years, but I've been doing them now for about a year. And the reason is because we are in different times. And most people have never sold and never run a business in a market like this. And so in order for me to have someone take over my sales so I can step fully out and someone else can execute this system right here, I need to get in here and see what people are saying and what's going on and what the conversation and the flow. And I had to come in and refine my process. We've changed it a lot in the last year due to that, because I got in here and was like, oh, this is way different. We need to run through my process and set it up differently. And now it can be handed off. Technically, it could be handed off again. So I want to tell you, like, we have someone joining Sales Academy now who has a full-time seller. And the CEO is not running this. That seller is going to run this for her. But the CEO and we need to set this up for her. She needs to get it working, and then her seller can take it over. So CEO does CEO stuff. So I want you guys to understand the long game here. You're not doing this forever. You won't be 6 and 7 figures doing this stuff. You got to get it going though, so you give it away. Does that make sense to everybody? This is where scale. We call this repeatable, predictable, scalable, because you can delegate it. The whole system can be sent out to someone or something else and does not have to be done by you. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You're going to pick a platform, not platforms, pick a platform. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, pick your poison, okay? Choose the one that you're going to go 100% all in on. Stop trying to be everywhere. I promise you, you're not getting more sales like that because you're half-assing and spreading yourself too thin. Pick a platform you can master. At some point, I will have you pick a second as a backup, just in case, because you could get shut down and you don't own social. But when you pick a platform, we're going to have you in Sales Academy make sure you're getting emails, phone numbers, and addresses, because you own those. And once you have those, it doesn't matter what happens on social media, you're in contact with your people. If you don't want to lose your business, right? If you want to be, you never want to get to 7 figures and then your platform gets shut down and you're like, oh my God, I just lost my whole business. Not smart. So we teach you how to get people's emails, phone numbers, and addresses, and you're going to have those. Because when you get to the middle of the funnel and you have to do your hot, cold, warm touch points, that nurture and those touch points and that reciprocity, we don't just do that on social media. There are things that you need to do that are off social media, so we need this other information, okay? So you're going to pick a platform, and you're going to go 100% there until you hit your sales goal consistently for 90 days. So one of my rules in Sales Academy is we don't change anything for 90 days. I don't care if you think it's not working. I don't care if you don't love it. We're gonna focus for 90 days. We will not have enough data and enough people seeing your stuff and doing the things to say that this does or does not work. And we are not going to change random things that we don't know are broken. Does that make sense? That's just chaos. So 90 days gives us enough time for me to say, I can tell you in 5 seconds what worked and what didn't and what we need to shift. So you're making smart, strategic adjustments and pivots, not emotional, chaotic, crazy stuff. Does that make sense to everybody? So that's the first thing we're going to do. As you add those people, you pick that platform and add and connect with people at the top of that funnel. You're going to then start to build a buyer's list. You're going to move those leads onto the buyer's list. In Sales Academy, we will help you identify where you'll host that buyer's list. It could be a group track thing. That's what we use. It could be a spreadsheet. It could be a Trello board. We have clients that handwrite it. I don't fully recommend that, but I'm a pen to paper type of person too. We'll figure out what works for you and you'll work with that. 90 days without any changes, okay? But you're going to build your buyer's list. The goal is that within the first 30 days, you have a minimum of 50 people on that buyer's list. And then by 90 days, we have at least 100. So you're constantly stacking. This is not like I'm going to work 5 people for 6 months. That isn't going to work. We need to add to the buyer's list consistently. Every day, you should have people come on, people fall off, people buy, people not buy, people nurture, people you're talking to and qualifying. Like you're doing all these different things, and we need a place for you to organize these people and where everyone is at in the process. You can't go on social media and be like, oh my God, who did I talk to last week? She said she might be interested. Oh my God, let me try to go find her. Again, remember, 20, 25 hours of thinking time per week is the average entrepreneur. It's 97% of entrepreneurs. You got to fire and quit that part-time job that you are doing for free and not getting paid. And we need to run the system so that you're being efficient with your time. Okay, get 20 hours of your life back, I promise. Okay, once we get them on that buyer's list, this is where you start the triage, which is, we call it triage, but it's qualifying. It's that 5-star framework. They get on the buyer's list and they're in bucket 1. That's where you work that process, okay? And you do it as soon as they get on your buyer's list, not a week and a month later, immediately. So you guys can probably already start to think and see how things stack, because you have people that have maybe you've been working on the buyer's list for like a month, but every day there's new. And so you're circling back. But this is how we teach you to prioritize. You start your day with your hottest, most qualified people, and you work your way down. Okay, and when people come in Sales Academy, they're actually starting at their coldest leads and going up. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Well, I just met them today. I'm like, yeah, but you have someone who's ready to pay you with a credit card. Why have you not? I don't know. I haven't followed up. I'm so nervous. Like, no. So again, we're going to have you start at the top and you work your way down. So you're prioritizing your priorities, right? Even your hottest leads, there's going to be some hotter than the others. You have to know they have to be housed and organized so you can say, I have 5 hot leads, but these 2 are the hottest out of them. Do you see what I'm saying? So you have to be able to be like, ooh, I'm going straight to those 2, and then I work my way down. Everything's about prioritizing. And if you have leads scattered and you don't even have them listed and how, I don't know how you guys manage that. My brain would be, I would spend a lot of time thinking and probably trying to figure out where to go. Like, you gotta have a list, pull it up, and you need to be able to look and be like, give me those 3 hottest leads right at the top. Perfect. These are the 2 hottest. I'm going to start with them. Here's where they're at in the 5-star framework. Here's where we need to go next. And that's the beautiful thing about the 5-star framework. When people hop on the Sales Academy calls and they're like, okay, let's see where I start today to get my sales. And I will say, how many people do you have in bucket 2? How many people are in bucket 3? They can pull this right up. And they'll give me 2 seconds, I'll tell you. Right? And you can look and say, well, they're in bucket 2. I don't know why I got them on a sales call, Ann. I have a sales call booked for next week. And I'm like, what bucket are they in? They're in bucket 2. No, cancel the call. Why are you doing that? So again, it's helping you guys prioritize so you can learn how to sell. And so the 5-star framework also helps you organize your time and prioritize your leads. Who and what are you giving your time and attention to? Right? And how is that making you money? After you go through that triage and you get them down into bucket 3 and they're answering and giving you, you got the proximity, I call it the ping pong, right? You're going kind of back and forth in bucket 3 and you understand their gap. That's when it goes to a sales call. Not before, not a freaking second before. There are no sales calls if you can't with integrity and with ethics and with absolute certainty and confidence say, I understand your problem, I absolutely can help you. If you cannot do that with certainty and confidence and complete integrity, and there's any question there, they do not get invited to the next step yet. Stay with them in bucket 3 and go deeper. You're not there yet. One of the things I say, you'll hear this a lot if you join Sales Academy, slow down to speed up. Slow down to speed up. Some of you guys want to run this like an interrogation, an interview. You want to just be like, boom, 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 what are the questions? Or the second someone says, oh yeah, I have that problem, you're like, oh my God, I can help you. Do you want to talk about my program? And you just kill the sale because you're speeding, you're rushing, you're trying to get to the sale. That's all emotional and that's your ego. And you got to get that shit in check so that you're running this like a system and not with emotion, right? You follow the system. It's like an SOP, okay? So that's the triage, and they'll come into sales call, and then boom, you close that call using our framework, right? Our sales call conversion framework. You close that call. That framework, we've been doing that for 18 years. It closes our clients around 85 to 100% of every sales call. But they're following this whole framework, not just the sales call conversion. But then boom, you have a new client. Now, in a perfect world, that is exactly how this would go. In the most perfect world, it would be bingo, bango, boom, got a client. It just, whoop, they went right through the system. It's so perfect. In a perfect world. But we don't live in a perfect world, right? The reality is, it doesn't always just go like this. So, there's a point in the system that 2 things could happen. So you're going to get someone on your buyers list and they're not going to talk to you, right? We have people that, oh, they don't talk to me. They don't answer. They're not talking to you. So what does that mean? It means you're not able to get them into the triage. You're not able to get them in your buckets because they're not even engaging. There's zero proximity. And remember, without proximity, you get no sale. It's not a thing. If you don't have their proximity, then you don't have a sale. There's no sale. You shouldn't be trying to get a sale because there's no proximity. So sometimes, a lot of times, people will come on, accept your connection, or you accept theirs, and then they just sit there and you're like, it's like pulling teeth. They're not answering, they're not responding. You can't get the proximity. At this point, we drop them in to a nurture set of touch points. And nurturing is another set of things that you need to be doing, because you don't just want them to sit and die off. You just got that person. You need to nurture them until they respond to you. And there are little things that you can do that are going to get their attention, that are going to get them to respond. It gives you the proximity. Doesn't mean they're a buyer, but it gets you proximity. Okay? And we can't tell if they're a buyer without that. So we need proximity as step one. So sometimes that happens and you're like, well, Ann, I don't have them in buckets yet. Not qualifying them yet. Haven't been able to get them to 5-star. I'm putting them through a nurture cycle instead of touch points because I can't get the proximity. That is one thing that could happen. It happens all the time. 90% of your leads are probably doing this. Okay? So that you need to know how to move them. This is what we say, move your leads. You got to learn how to move them. So that's one thing. The second thing that could happen is you get them into the triage and you start working them down the buckets and you're like, yes, okay, we're going. But then you find out, they're either not qualified fully, so you're not able to fully qualify, and or they're not ready to come to the sales call. So now they're stuck in a bucket, right? You got them in a bucket and you come to a screeching halt and it just stops right there. And you're like, shit, now what do I do? Right? They're just sitting here and we can't go any further. At this point, nurture. We drop them into a nurture cycle, a set of nurture touch points. When we're doing nurture, there's two parts of nurture. Touch points, top of mind content. It's both, and it has to be both. So there's things you need to do with them that are going to be touch points, so you're going to be doing things. And then there's also top of mind content that we're going to put in front of them and plug them into. It's going to get proximity happening in a qualify in or a qualify out. Because what you don't want is to have hundreds of leads and you come to me and say, I don't know what to do with them. They're just stuck right here and I don't know if they qualify and I don't know if they don't, and they're just sitting there. That's just ridiculous. We need to move the leads. So to move them, if they get stuck in your bucket and you can't get them to a sales call, you're going to drop them back into a nurture cycle. Okay, so there's two things from triage, guys. They're either going down into the nurture cycle or they're going to a sales conversation. That's it. Well, the only other thing is you take them off your list entirely because they're totally wrong. I guess that's the third thing. That's the process. That is Sales Academy. That is what we have you do. This is what you're doing. This is how you're making money. This is how you're moving your leads. This is what your day should look like. 90% of your day should be this right here. And all you should be asking a coach or a mentor that you're talking to, how do I get this lead to move? How do I move them? What do I say next? How do I get them from here to there? What do I do when they say this? What do I do when they're not doing this? How do I move to put dollars and cents in your bank account? Why would you invest in coaching or mentorship and not get dollars and cents out of that return? Why would you do that? You need to be making money. You have no business if the business is broke. So we need sales before anything. There's no scaling. And listen, there's all these advanced strategies, right? There's all these advanced strategies that come out like funnels and automation and Facebook ads and sales pages. Guys, that is what you do when you're doing multi 6, 7 figures and you got your shit dialed in. When you don't have that, you're doing this right here. You're doing this right here all day, every day until you hit your sales goals consistently. Now, you could get them to a sales call, right? This is the last little part of the system. You get them to a sales call and they don't buy. Now, they might give you an objection. which if you're in Sales Academy, you're going to get objections in the beginning until you get this down. But our clients eliminate 90% of objections from ever happening with our system. You don't, that's not something you're going to be doing. You're not getting in the ring and fighting for sales. But in the beginning, they might give you an objection, or you might not be dialed in and masterful at your positioning or hosting the call yet. And so they don't convert, or maybe they say, sure, but it's not going to be today. And so what happens? You drop them back down into a nurture touch point, but they stay on that qualified hot list. So they are the people you're working at the top, but they are going into a nurture cycle because they're not ready today to pay you. Now, here's where people make the mistake. They don't buy today and they fall off your list. They fall off your radar, and you literally go from nurturing and qualifying this person to, oh my God, I need a sale. I got to go find another sale. And that person just falls off your radar and you go hunt down another sale. And then that person falls through the cracks and you never see them again. And then 2 months from now, when you're dying for a sale and you think about it, and you're like, oh my God, that's right. Let me go check. They've forgotten and invested in your competitor. They don't even know who you are anymore. We don't do that. You hold the space until they pay you. So people will ask me, Ann, how many times do I follow up? At what point do I stop following up? And my answer is always the same. It's been the same for 20 years and it's never going to change. You will stop following up when they tell you verbally, don't reach out to me again. I am not interested. Stop. And if those words specifically are not coming out of their mouth, you're not stopping. It doesn't matter if they're ignoring you or not responding, or they're just giving you the heart emoji or the thumbs up. And you're like, oh, what the heck? You're following up. The thing with follow-up is you just don't know how to do it. So if you're doing it properly, people aren't like annoyed by you because you're doing it properly. But you follow up until they tell you to stop it or until they pay you. And that's how billionaires become billionaires. So at the end of the day, we're not just letting leads fall through the cracks anymore. If they don't close in that sales conversation, they're going to go into a nurture cycle until they close or they tell you, hey, knock it off. I'm good. And until those words come out of their mouth, you're going to keep following up. The frequency of the follow-up and what you're doing and saying depends on the lead. That looks different for everybody. All sales and all clients are not created equal, but that's the process. Okay? So that's what that looks like. Let me stop sharing here for a second. So I've given you the visual, the walkthrough. You can understand if you are or are not doing the process, right? The second question to ask yourself is, do I know enough and have enough, and do I feel capable enough all by myself on my own with no help, no feedback, no coaching to go execute this successfully and finally reach my sales goals? Or do I need some help to speed this up and get there? What I'm going to tell you is it doesn't matter to me either way which way you go, right? Because I don't want to sleep over that. That's totally up to you. But what I will tell you is if you haven't been able to get to your sales goals by yourself on your own to this point, the likelihood of all of a sudden I watched a workshop for free for 5 days and I got it, it's pretty unlikely. I think you could definitely assess your situation and know exactly what you need to do differently, and you might be able to start getting a little traction. But the likelihood of getting sales in dollars and cents in the bank just from a 5-day free workshop is pretty unlikely. So again, I just want you guys to think about if you have any questions, any kind of like hesitation about Sales Academy, if whatever's coming up for you, if it's money, if it's time, if it's I'm just scared because I've done this before and it didn't work, if it's I don't know if it's a good fit for me, I don't know if I'm cut out, I don't know if I'll show up and do the work. That's another thing people say, like, okay, I know what I got to do, you showed me, but even if you give it to me and coach me, I don't know if I'll do it. That's more someone who's not consistent. But again, whatever it is, we can't help you decide if we don't know your situation. So definitely come over on Voxer with me. It's private. There's nobody, it's confidential. It's nobody else. Talk to me. Ask me your questions. Tell me what you're scared of. Tell me your hesitance. Tell me your resistance. What's coming up for you? We'll talk it through. If at the end, I think this just would not be a good fit right now, I'm going to tell you that. If I think it'd be a good fit and maybe there's some things we just need to work on and do, I'm going to tell you that. But you'll walk away from that conversation at least with a better understanding and a sense of clarity on maybe what to go start doing first to get yourself in a better position where you can later revisit Sales Academy at a later date or another time. And hopefully not months and months and months, because we want you to get to your sales goal. And many of you have been stuck for quite a while. So we don't want to drag it out longer than we need to when we know we can speed it up. The Voxer link is right at the top and the bottom of that page for you guys. Tap it, it takes you straight to me. We can voice, text, whatever you're comfortable with. I'll be there to chat with you.